Before this shooting at Florida State University, there was also something highly topical at the White House today. Social media posts from the president criticizing the Federal Reserve Board Chairman Jerome Powell, suggesting, and then the White House rapidly tried to nullify that inferred suggestion that the president might fire the chairman of the Federal Reserve. What do we know?
Yeah, look, at issue is this, like at the crux of this, Major, is that the president has long been critical, very critical of the Fed chair. He wants him to lower interest rates. He has not. It's something
Federal Reserve is an independent entity in the federal government.
Right, it is, and he has said, and he said publicly as much. And then, he did put out that social media post, and then later in comments said, if I want him out, he'll be out. However, of course, speaking to our CBS experts on this issue, you can't do. The president cannot remove a sitting Fed chair. Powell is there until May 2026.
And Powell has said he would resist any effort to force him to resign prematurely.
Yes, and he has said that emphatically, and that this is the role of the Fed.
Has there been any conversations inside the White House that the president has been party to, where he has suggested that he would like to engineer Powell's departure earlier than scheduled?
There have been reports that, Kevin Warsh, who is a former member of the Fed Board of Governors, has met with the president on several occasions to discuss that possibility. It's something that we have heard externally on the outside from, stakeholders who are supportive of Trump, that there should be a change. The Secretary of Treasury, Bessent, has said in a recent interview that they are going to be looking for replacements following the end of his tenure of Powell's
the scheduled end of his
tenure. But again, the president was emphatic, even in the Oval Office a little while ago, saying that if I want him out, he'll be out.
Finn Gomez, thank you very much. For more on this, I want to bring in CBS News Money Watch correspondent Kelly O'Grady. Kelly, I want to play for you sound from Elizabeth Warren, Democrat of Massachusetts, member of the Senate, someone who has in the past raised questions about Jerome Powell's stewardship at the Federal Reserve, but said this: if he were fired prematurely, would cross a very important and injurious line. Let's listen.
I have tangled with him on a regular basis about both regulations and interest rates. But understand this: if Chairman Powell can be fired by the President of the United States, it will crash the markets. I think what he's doing is testing the waters. Does he think he can get away with firing Powell and all of you won't raise any hell about that? He's checking that out. And I'm just saying, for the strength of our country, I hope all of you are pushing back.
Kelly, put this conversation in context.
Well, listen, crash, markets crashing, that is a very extreme word, but the Federal Reserve is independent because, to ask any economist, international or American, they are able to keep prices more stable than they would if you had the sort of influence of Congress or the president. And so, yeah, there is the fear that if you were to have more of this tussle play out and this to actually go down a legal route, which, as Finn said, this would be illegal right now based on the law and based on a precedent set by a Supreme Court case during FDR's term, you would see markets react. Whenever Fed Chair Powell speaks, markets react. So if there was the hint that the president or Congress would have a hand in setting monetary policy, yeah, you could see a response from investors.
Speaking of the Fed chair speaking, he did so yesterday in reference to possible efforts to pressurize him to leave. Let's listen.
We're never going to be influenced by any political pressure. People can say whatever they want. That's fine. That's not a problem. But we will do what we do strictly without consideration of political or any other extraneous factors.
Kelly, that definitely meant to calm the markets.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, I sat in the room with Fed Chair Powell a couple of months ago, and someone flat out asked him, would you resign if President Trump asked you to? And he said no. And so, look, I mean, he said a lot of other things during that speech that didn't calm the markets, but certainly Powell has his term until May 2026. And even after that, by the way, Major, he still remains on as a board member at the Fed. So his influence at the Fed legally would go on for quite some time.
Kelly O'Grady, it's a pleasure. Always. Thank you.